It takes a certain kind of person to work at a job outdoors.
Instead of a window to the outside, I am outside.
I can't see myself being an office person.
And when you work outside, sometimes what you do is on display for the whole world to see.
2, 1.
Meet some special people who earn their daily bread by working jobs without walls.
Funding for Outdoor Idaho is made possible by the Laura Moore Cunningham Foundation, committed to fulfilling the Moore and Bettis family legacy of building the great state of Idaho, by the Friends of Idaho Public Television, by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
You know, most 9-to-5 jobs these days require a lot of time spent in a building, behind a desk surrounded by 4 walls. That's just the way it is anymore. But we found some folks whose jobs require them to be outdoors. Hi, I'm Bruce Reichert, and welcome to Outdoor Idaho. They constantly face the challenges that Mother Nature throws their way, but they think it's worth it. They prefer a job without walls. James Wesley Jones is not your typical mail carrier. Sure, he picks up a bundle of mail at his local post office in Bayview, as many other carriers do.
Hey, morning, Ralph. How are you?
But then he heads to Ralph's coffee shop to grab a few newspapers.
Sounds great. Have a good day.
Next, he stops at the Bayview Mercantile to pick up an assortment of groceries. Finally, he motors his boat to the Bayview dock.
All aboard!
Here he meets some passengers eager to accompany Jones on his mailboat run to the rugged east side of Lake Pend Oreille. It's one of the few remaining water-based postal runs in the country.
Morning, guys.
While it's now rare, boats used to be the prime movers of mail, supplies, and people on this lake.
It goes back to the late 1800s, actually, and it's always been the lifeline to get things back and forth from one side to the other.
Jones is the latest in a long line of mail boat drivers on Lake Pend Oreille that stretches back decades.
It's a very important tradition, and it feels good and honored to be able to carry on that tradition.
Jones says he's the first in the job with an official captain's license. That's a plus for the passengers he takes along on the route. The tourists help augment the mail contract, and they get a first-hand glimpse into this historic service.
It's nostalgic, I guess is the word. It's fun to see that still goes on, you know, because I know there's a lot of places that you don't see the regular mail delivery. Everybody wants the Postal Service to reach out to people that are right here in these far out areas, because you know the other guys aren't going to come out here.
The first stop on Jones' route is Lakeview, a once booming mining town that now has very few year-round residents.
Good stuff.
Great today.
At each location, there's usually a mail captain who helps coordinate deliveries with their neighbors. Here in Lakeview, there's even a small dockside post office with a slot for each resident.
I think we've lost so much of American history and nostalgia, you know. And these little pieces that still exist and provide the level of care and service that Wes seems to do. And to get out here on a boat where you can get some big sky and wide open spaces and a little bit of wind in your face. And yeah, it's beautiful. Loved it.
The next stop on the run is Cedar Creek, another remote community on the lake. There are normally 2 stops here, including one mailbox he can deliver to right from the boat. For Jones, this is the ideal job.
Oh boy, it's got to be the love of people and adventure and not liking the 9-to-5 stuff. You know, they say you can't put a square peg in a round hole. Well, this is a square peg job, that's for sure. It changes every day, it's never the same. It's the weather, it's the people, it's just all that. Boy, it gives you something to wake up for every morning. Boy, that sucker is heavy and a little bit of mail.
After making another delivery, Jones takes his passengers on a short walk to see the Cedar Creek Post Office. The rustic building is well weathered, a reminder of how long this historic mail run has been going.
The one that's up at Cedar Creek, that's really old and has kind of an old look. And some of the other postmen have signed their name on the wall in there, and there's some neat little trinkety stuff around. But it just adds to that little step that takes you back in time with the job.
Back on the lake, the calm water allows the boat to speed toward its next lakeside community. And before long, Captain Jones approaches Whiskey Creek.
We're getting there.
Arriving at the dock, he's greeted by another local.
Here you are, Shirley.
That's everything?
That's everything. And I'll give you a newspaper
Yes.
and a water. And
Well, I find it hard to believe that there's mail still being delivered like that. I mean, it was unreal. And it was fun to watch the people walk out to meet the boat, to get their mail. It was just great.
Hey, Roddy. How you doing,
Stops at Granite Creek and Kilroy Bay round out the route.
Rowdy, there's a little bit of mail for you, big guy. You betcha, man. There you are. They're just what you need.
It's a run that Jones does 7 days a week, weather permitting.
What could you say? The post office is part of what being American's all about, is getting mail, daily service, staying connected with the rest of the world.
Bye, guys. Have a good day. It's unique. I've never seen anything like it. And I don't know if they would have mail delivery without the tour guide. It's really great. It's something that not everybody gets to do. I mean, this is so different and so real.
After all the mail is delivered, Jones often motors by the steep cliffs of the slide on the way back to Bayview. It's a scenic spot and a fitting way to top off the trip.
When we get finished with our last stop, you can kind of tip your hat back, unbutton your shirt a little, loosen up. And when you get down to the slide, you cannot understand the magnitude of the steepness of those cliffs until you get right up close. It's awe-inspiring. It's getting back to nature. It's unchecking from the speediness of everything that goes on around you with a regular job. Boy, it feeds my soul. It really does. That's what I live for. I'm finally chasing my dreams. And it's not anybody's path, it's my path. It feels right as rain.
The Caribou National Forest stretches for just over 1 million acres across southeastern Idaho and parts of Wyoming. It's rugged, remote, and a bit of a mystery for land managers.
There's the Thames limestone.
So Glenn Hoffman and Carla Rabernack are here to do some sleuthing.
So the next area I need to get into is down near the Blackfoot River.
They work for the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and they're interested in dirt.
I prefer soil. Dirt is usually the word we use for soil out of place, just like a plant out of place is a weed.
Carla Rabernack is a soil mapper for the NRCS.
Their task is to create an inventory of the soils for the U.S. and then interpret that data and make it available to the public and assist them in using them.
The NRCS provides scientific and technical support to help private and public land managers improve, protect, and conserve the land. And one way to do that is to produce soil maps.
Every landscape tells a story. And as a soil scientist, that's my job, is to figure out what the story of that landform is.
As a soil mapper, Rabernack spends her workday digging and documenting. She starts by digging a deep hole.
I'm not looking for anything particular as I dig the hole, but I do learn a lot about the soil. Sometimes you feel a clay pickup or a change in texture just from the bite of the shovel. It does help to pay attention to those things while you're working.
When she hits bedrock, Rabernack unloads her tools and begins documenting the soil's properties.
I'm looking at the vertical sequence of layers in the soil. It could be changing by color or by texture or by rock fragments or roots, anything that would manage differently.
Adding a little water to a handful of soil, Rabernack feels the texture.
You can hear the sand crunching in there. There's also a lot of organic matter in there. It's not very sticky, it's not very floury, so I think there's a lot of sand and not a whole lot of clay in here.
She also records the types and condition of the flora and fauna around the soil pit.
There are a lot of uses for soil data right now. It's being used for modeling climate change and tracking pest and disease cycles.
Rabernack finishes up at this site, fills in the hole, and moves on to her next location.
Sometimes I hike. Sometimes I ride my motorbike. Sometimes, on occasion, I've taken horses. Sometimes it's a long hike, sometimes it's an easy hike.
Rabernack walks or rides hundreds of miles in a season to map an area.
We are mapping soils in the West that have never been mapped, never been seen before. And when we're working in an area like the National Forest here, the Caribou National Forest, we run across often things that we've not seen.
And that's why Rabernack says being a soil scientist is so challenging.
Soils is a very diverse science. It encompasses a lot of geology and hydrology and geomorphology, and along with all the biological sciences that I had to learn. It is part of the big picture of managing all of our natural resources. I love my job because I get to work here. Instead of a window to the outside, I am outside. In the course of a day, I get to explore and hike and get dirty and learn. And I can't think of a better way to spend my work week.
For some, working in the out of doors is a family tradition.
This place is really dear to me. It's where I grew up.
Steve Zanelli is a water resource specialist with Idaho Power. He grew up in an outfitting family, running the river in Hell's Canyon.
It was the best life imaginable. On one day we might be fishing, on the next day we might put a raft in and spend the day rafting down through the canyon here to be picked up by my dad, and it was wonderful.
The part of the Snake River that runs through Hell's Canyon is challenging for any jet boat pilot. Experience counts.
Reading the water is looking at your shoreline and your wave size and any obvious rocks, and over time you come to understand what all of those tied together tells you about the water depth or where you should be going.
Hell's Canyon is a pretty remote area. We do a lot of monitoring and stream flow work, fisheries work, and because it is so remote, a jet boat is really one of the only ways you can get there, especially with people and equipment.
Today, Zanelli is part of a team of scientists checking the Johnson Bar Gauge, 18 miles below the Hell's Canyon Dam.
This is one of the gauges that is owned by the USGS. We take care of it for them. We want to make sure that that gauge is operating efficiently and that the data that we're receiving from it is accurate flow information.
Along the way, Zanelli slows down for groups floating the river.
The fact that I'm in a jet boat and more mobile makes me no more special than any other user on the water, and it's all about everyone getting along. It's all about everyone waving at one another and enjoying themselves, and I really don't feel like I'm doing a good job of fostering a relationship if I don't try and impact them as little as possible.
Once at the site, Zanelli and the team start to work.
We have a gauge that's here that's sending telemetry back to Boise. It's very important to Idaho Power to know what the flow is coming out of the different dam systems, so we're actually out making measurements to measure flow to verify that what we think is happening at the dam is actually happening.
While one group works on the gauge, the others put a kayak in the water. They're taking measurements with an acoustic Doppler profiler.
It's getting kind of shallow again. The ADCP actually looks at the velocities that are in the water, determines how fast the water is moving at all different points throughout the water column, and also can figure out the channel bottom. So by the time someone goes across in a kayak, you actually have the discharge. Without Steve, we wouldn't be able to access these remote locations, especially safely. Steve is an excellent pilot, and we always feel comfortable when Steve takes us down here.
With the job done, Zanelli heads back upstream.
A bad day in a jet boater's world would be where you actually make contact with the bottom. A good day is where you see wildlife and you have a good group with you and you just enjoy being in Hell's Canyon. I can't see myself being an office person every day, every week. I enjoy the outdoors too much, and I've been fortunate in that I am able to do something out of doors that I really enjoy.
Good morning, 83 is in 6.
Not every outdoor job begins in the outdoors. Alicia Colson begins her day on the computer,
Weather is green.
checking the weather. And then, like everyone who works outside, she checks her gear. In this case, an Augusta 119 helicopter. Colson is a Life Flight pilot.
We're just opening up all the cowlings, looking at the transmission, the drive shaft, the engine, the tail rotor, the main rotor blades. Just looking at all the parts and pieces that move, making sure everything that needs to move moves and everything that doesn't move doesn't move.
Life Flight is an air medical transport service. Colson is based in Sandpoint, Idaho.
I do enjoy being outdoors, and northern Idaho is a perfect place for it.
Colson makes sure the helicopter is all checked out, gassed, and ready to go. And when a call comes in, her team is ready to go 24/7.
The crew consists of one pilot, and then we have 2 crew members consisting of a nurse and a paramedic.
All of our lives depend on that pilot being able to choose whether the weather's okay for us to go and to be able to find locations that are given to us and then to make sure that those are safe for us to land in. No matter how good of nurse or paramedic we are, all of our lives depend on the pilot and all of us working together as a crew.
Whenever I'm taking off, I'm thinking about other traffic, the airplane or other traffic in the area. And then I'm thinking about, wind direction and which way to take off. And then whenever we're in the air, we're constantly scanning gauges inside and then looking outside, looking for traffic, birds.
Piloting isn't just a job for Colson, it's a lifelong passion.
I grew up flying with my dad. He had a Cessna 182, so I started out flying airplanes with him when I was 10. And I loved it. So I started actually flying fixed wing first. I've got my private fixed wing, was in the process of doing my fixed wing training and went up for a helicopter ride, an intro ride, and I fell in love with it. That was the end of airplanes for me. I think just the freedom of getting to fly a helicopter, they're so much more maneuverable. Hovering is a completely different feeling than anything else I've ever done. Hovering so close to the ground and being suspended in the air is completely different than an airplane.
Because this is a practice flight, Colson isn't worried about picking up a patient. And it gives everyone a chance to enjoy the view.
I think that Clark Fork River Valley is a really beautiful area with the lake and then going into the river. I think the mountains that way are so beautiful, and you can see the water and the lake all in one as we're flying to the east. It's just one of my favorite spots.
Life Flight crews in this region save or transport hundreds of patients a year.
I'm really lucky because my whole job, I get to fly, which I love, and I get to help people at the same time. And whenever we do help someone and that they actually end up coming and telling us that they survived and that they're doing really well, then that gives me the most satisfaction. And not only do I love flying, but I get to help people at the same time.
Chris Nicolai's day job is fighting wildfires out of the Smoke Jumpers base in McCall, Idaho. But he has a new once-in-a-lifetime assignment.
And I'm also the logistics section for the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree.
That means Nikolai is the man responsible for finding, cutting, and supervising the shipping and delivery of the U.S. Capitol's Christmas tree.
Okay.
Since 1970, the U.S. Forest Service has provided the Christmas tree that stands on the Capitol grounds.
To the folks in Idaho.
Former Chief of the U.S. Forest Service, Tom Tidwell, says the Capitol Christmas tree comes from a different national forest each year.
It's, I think, part of our pioneering spirit in this country, this connection with forests, and this idea about a Christmas tree, especially one that can come from our forests, and we can either bring it into our home, or in this case, we bring it to the Capitol so we can share it with all of America.
Once the Payette National Forest was selected to provide the tree, Nikolai started looking. When he would find a contender, he'd mark the GPS location and take a picture.
We were looking for a Doug fir or an Engelmann spruce type species. You know, those are the quintessential Christmas tree look.
Nikolai narrowed down the choices to about a dozen trees. Then Ted Bechtel, the superintendent of the U.S. Capitol grounds, came to Idaho to make the final selection.
A couple of not bad looking trees down
Yep, I just think the access would be...
Yeah, it's a long reach.
Deciding on the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree is a lot like picking out your family's Christmas tree, just on a much bigger scale.
60 to 85 feet in height, a nice conical shape because the tree is viewed from 360 degrees. The nice thing about the country here is there's a lot of open spaces. The trees aren't on top of each other in a lot of locations, so they're more open grown. That way the tree has a really good chance of developing all the way around. Measure the diameter on this baby. A nice looking tree.
It's a good looking tree. Ted, there you have it.
Just as important as finding the right tree is finding it in the right location.
Point on it right here.
Access is important because crews have to take a perhaps 11,000-pound tree and put it on an 80-foot long trailer. They found the right combination on the edge of Little Ski Hill, just west of McCall. In November, hundreds gathered to watch Nikolai and fellow smoke jumper Jared Schuster cut the prized Engelmann spruce. They decide to use a crosscut saw instead of a chainsaw.
Your way. I think it was a good way to honor the wilderness in Idaho and traditional methods out there. Both myself and Jared have spent time on a crosscut on a fire somewhere out there, and it just seemed like a good way to do it. And in the end, I think it was better too because we could hear what the tree was doing.
How close are you?
1 inch. It was a slower pace, but I think it was a little bit more magical too.
There you have it. It's just barely hanging on.
With a few more cuts from an axe and a little pressure.
Here it comes, Bill.
You got it.
To protect the branches, the tree isn't allowed to fall. Then the crane operators take over.
The first crane had it here, the second crane grabbed the bottom, and then in unison, they worked the tree so it would then get horizontal, and then they brought it over together and down onto the trailer.
It's a slow process, needing time to allow the tree to settle in. Once it's ready, the tree is moved to an airport hangar so it can be tied down and made ready for a cross-country trip.
That was probably the hardest part. The tree was so girthy, just really big. It was 26 feet wide, and squeeze it down to 8.5 feet was a little bit more work than I anticipated.
It toured cities across the country on the way to its final home at the U.S. Capitol. And on a rainy December night, hundreds gathered for the lighting ceremony.
I'm excited this evening to serve as your Master of Ceremonies. I'd like to thank the dedicated folks of the United States Forest Service, both the staff here in Washington and the Payette National Forest staff in Idaho, who helped make this event possible.
Idahoans hand-made most of the 18,000 ornaments that hang on the tree.
If only you could be here.
Idaho 5th grader Isabella Gerard won a poetry contest and the right to flip the switch.
All right. Isabella, this is the moment. Let's everybody count down. You ready, Isabella?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think the tree itself, when it came off the stump, was pretty magical, and it was like, wow, that is a great looking tree. And it just looks a little bit different with the ornaments on it, but I think it looks great.
And that's the end of Nikolai's special assignment.
The nice thing is I think I've met some really good friends along the way that I didn't have before, so I'm really more thankful for that probably than anything. Now this job's done, yeah. And yeah, I'll go back to be a smoke jumper.
Funding for Outdoor Idaho is made possible by the Laura Moore Cunningham Foundation, committed to fulfilling the Moore and Bettis family legacy of building the great state of Idaho, by the Friends of Idaho Public Television, by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. To find more information about these shows, visit us at idahoptv.org.